Oops, I don't know if we have Kelly or
I'm
not.
here. I'm
There you are.
Yes, I'm here.
Is Canadian a
Hey,
town in
first,
Texas?
it is 2,100 people.
Canadian. That's the name of
We're
it.
here. Yes,
How
Canadian,
about that?
Texas. Yes.
Canadian,
Eh,
Texas.
But before we start, yes, I want to thank you for the writing of Safe People. I read that about 20 something years ago, and it was
Oh,
such
wow.
a gift to me at the time. So thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
well,
Thank you. It
you're
changed my
very
life.
you're very welcome. You know, there's an interesting progression to that. I wrote Changes That Heal, and it was my first book, and the
Yes.
second section of that book was Boundaries. And so we
Yes.
go speaking
Yes.
on this, and then all the questions were about boundaries. So John and I decided, why don't we write a book about boundaries? And that'll answer the questions, and we won't have to talk about this anymore. Well, that
Right.
hit a nerve. And then
You,
we found out everybody's got these boundary issues. And then we found out that, well, they got boundary issues because they're a lot of times they're not picking very safe people. And then we thought, safe people. Now there's an idea. Why don't we help people with their people picker and learn how to figure out who's a safe person and who isn't? So that's where it came from.
well, I appreciate it. I remember when I read Boundaries with Kids, it helped me understand myself better
Hmm.
because my husband and I had 5 children and we were trying to teach boundaries, and we realized both of us had been raised without them.
Yeah.
But reading Boundaries with Kids gave me a big understanding about myself, how I got where I was in life, and so Changes That Heal was good. They were all just good, and I just appreciate the
Well,
effort
well,
and the
thank
work
you
that you
very
guys
much.
put into that.
Thank you.
So
So
anyway, here I
tell me how I
am.
can help you.
This is kind of a awkward little question, but my husband of 32 years passed away 6 years ago. So I've
Oh,
been
I'm
doing
sorry.
the widow journey for 6 years, and it's been kind of, well, it's been very hard, big challenge. But back in September, I started seeing a man, and with the understanding that I was going to be walking slow and I didn't want to make any commitments prematurely, and that it
With
wasn't
when
just
you
about
say
me. I
with
have
that
five.
understanding, is that something y'all talked about?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So now, were
Um,
you
I
friends
have.
before you started seeing him in a more of a dating kind of way? Were you friends first, or did you start out? There's nothing wrong with starting out by dating, but what was it
Right.
from the beginning?
No, we didn't actually. Yeah, it was acquaintances, and first it just started off as walking partners. I walk
Oh,
for
cool.
exercise, and he asked if he could walk with me sometime, and
Yeah.
I accepted that invitation. So we walked, and for about 3 months, we just would walk, and he would help me with some of my chores, outdoor work, and stuff like that. And I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah.
That I have five adult children who are married, and I'm a nana to 15 grandchildren. So I
Oh,
know that yes, anybody who comes into my world is going to have to be at times all hands on deck, and my attention will be shared occasionally when the kids are all here and stuff like that. So I know that going into a new relationship that comes with that. But so I felt like I was very clear with that, and he said we'll take our time. He wasn't That didn't seem to be an issue.
now wait a
But
minute.
as we continued to see each other,
Hold on a second. He said we'll take our time. You said so. At this point, y'all had already said, "Gosh, we're kind of starting dating here, but I need you to know, my kids and our grandkids and all that." So that was in the context of that you were going to start to kind of be more than just walking partners.
just hanging out with me, I felt like I owed him that, that I
Okay,
was
but hold on. No, no,
open
no.
to.
I understand that. What I'm trying to understand is his response. He said, "That's okay. We'll take our time." That sounds like he's got more than walking partners in his head because walking partners
Okay,
go, "Oh yeah." A walking partner would just say, "Oh, that's fine. When you can walk, tell me. When you can't, you can't." But he said, when you say, "Oh, we'll
okay,
take our time," that sounds a little bit like he's got some designs, right?
right, okay. That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's a good point. That is a good
Um,
point. It's a really
it's
good
a
point.
it's a it's a it's a foundational point. Yes.
So then he said, "That's okay. We'll take our time." Now, at that point, were you thinking, Okay, well, that's fine, and we'll take our time to explore to see where this goes.
I was, but I had a little thing in my
That's
head,
fine.
that was going nagging at me. There was things that were nagging at me, and I was trying to say, is this just me being in a new relationship? Is this me breaking
What? Give me
breaking past?
name one of the things that was nagging at you.
Okay, he dipped Copenhagen, and I'm not a
Dip's
fan
cocaine.
for lots of
Not a fan.
reasons. Yeah,
Okay.
and
All
I
right.
told him that, have you always done? We asked a few questions. Yeah, I said, well, I'm trying to quit, and we talked about the health benefits of that, and
Now,
I said,
now
my husband
was this
didn't.
as a friend? Like he might as well have been in a Weight Watchers group or something, or was this as now we're starting to date? And I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can date somebody that dips snuff because it's going to taste like whatever for a long time. Was it in the dating
Yes.
context, or is this health advice you're giving?
Well, it started at 3 months into walking. It became more of in a dating context, and I just said, if
Okay.
you'd like to stay in the hug zone for the entire relationship, wherever that goes, then continue to do your Copenhagen. But if you want more than that, you might want to consider quitting.
So
You
you
know,
said that?
I did. Yes, I did.
Go.
And
That's awesome.
and he said, I'm going to quit. I'm planning on quitting. And I asked for clarification, and I asked, what does quitting look like to you? And he said, I'm going to cut back, eventually not use it at all.
I love that question. It's like, oh, I'm going to quit drinking. Well, what does quitting drinking look like to you? Because people have different definitions. Okay, so there were
Exactly.
some red flags. So
Exactly.
I would love to, I'd love to chronicle this whole thing, but I got to get to a question because I have some other people I need to talk to. So what is, what I
Okay.
love, I should follow you around and write down some of these great sayings. But what is the question?
So my question is, there was a little bit of, no, there was a display of anger, an angry outburst that happened at a family function. Him
Oh,
towards me, and it was Mother's Day weekend, and it happened, and my daughters were here, my son-in-law saw it, and a couple grandkids saw it, and of course I saw it, which matters the most. And with that moment, I just said, he left abruptly after it
he
happened,
got angry at
and
you at your family function?
he got angry at me at a family function because you would laugh if I told you what happened, but I'll spare you the
Okay.
time. But
I'll laugh.
uh,
I'll laugh. Can you say
he
it in a sentence?
okay,
I just need a
okay,
sentence. What did he do?
yes, we were playing volleyball. I went to put my shoes back on, and my laces were tied. And he picked up one of my shoes, untied it, and I said, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll just tie it when I put it back on." And he threw the shoe at me and said, "Guess I can't do anything for you these days." And turned around and walked off. And then he
Wow.
got in his truck and he sped off
Okay.
like a 17-year-old teenager.
Really?
Um, then yes, and
Okay.
so
So
we got back to
give
my
me
house.
I'm getting go ahead. But I got to go fast. I'm sorry, but
So
I have to go fast. What?
okay, so he's called and apologized, and I just said, this isn't going to work.
Great.
Um, this is not going to work. And I said, this is where I feel like I made the mistake. I said, I need a timeout. That's not going to work for me. And he
Okay.
said, so then he said, you want me to call you? Don't want me to text? I said, no. Well, in the last 2 weeks, it's been 3 weeks, and he sent me cards telling me that he misses me. And the last one was, I hope your timeout ends soon. I miss you. So
Yeah,
my
well, I
question to
hope,
you is, do
I
I owe
hope
him?
your anger problem ends soon and that you've quit dipping snuff if I'm going to kiss you. So what's the question?
Do I owe him a further explanation? Do I write him a letter and say, this will not work? I wish you well, or do I just keep moving forward?
Well, both are true. Say maybe I wasn't clear. Maybe when I said I wanted a timeout, like we were going to come back. But just to be clear, I've thought about this and I really don't want to go forward in any kind of a relationship. So I wish you well. And that's it. Just do it that way.
Okay. And the other cruncher was, it wasn't just the shoe. He would mumble sometimes under his breath, and he
Oh,
said
we
God was talking to him. And I said, "What do you mean God's talking to you?" And he said, "If you don't understand it, you won't understand it." But one day he was mumbling and he said, "I am not going to call Mrs. English a bitch." And I said, "Who are you talking to?" And he said, "The voices. God is
The
God is
voices.
telling me this." And I'm like, "God doesn't call women bitches." So that is
Oh,
very, very
well, this,
confusing to me.
okay. Yeah.
So,
What I do, hold on a second. Do you have a counselor?
do I? Yes.
Yeah. Um, has he ever threatened you in any way?
No. No.
Okay. So if you're not, I just want to make sure you want to talk to your counselor about this. I just want to make sure you're safe. But I don't know what he
Right.
means by voices. I mean, I say, oh, the voices are telling me, I should go play golf now. No, I should do my homework, right? But some
Right.
people
Right.
actually, there is a thing called a command hallucination, where people hear voices that tell
Okay.
them to go do aggressive things. And if that's the case, you
Right.
really, really want to be careful. And I just want to make sure you're safe.
Yes.
So I got to run,
Yes.
but there's nothing wrong with just
Okay.
explaining. I hope I was clear, and have a nice life. Wish you well. Just I'm moving in a different direction. All righty.
That's what I needed to know.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
There you go. And in a
All
town of
right.
2,100,
Appreciate
which
it.
I bet is great, but might look in a little bit of bigger geographical geographical circle there, because you sound cool, and some man out there that you know doesn't hear voices call you bad names might be interested in getting to know you. Okay.